What's up, soil brothers and soil sisters? Today, y'all, we're gonna make a simple, very simple loaf of sandwich bread. This is so simple. We're gonna use simple ingredients. You can do so many things with a loaf of bread with this dough. You can make garlic bread with it if you want to make cinnamon raisin bread with it. I mean, cheese bread. Endless possibilities. But first, we need to conquer simple. We make this loaf of bread every week. We don't purchase bread, so I figured I'd take you along on this little journey as we make bread. In my bowl, I already have 1 cup of warm water. I have about 2 or 3 tablespoons of sugar. You can use honey. And I have 1 pack of active dried yeast. I let it sit for about 10 minutes, and now it's nice and foamy, as you can see. So now we want to move on to the next step. You can substitute your your water for milk, whey. You can substitute your sugar for honey. In the description or in the comments, I will list all the ingredients and the measurements. This is enough for 1 loaf of bread. So let's get the rest of our ingredients and move on. All right. So first I have my Redmond's real salt. This is the best salt, and that's what we use. You just want to sprinkle enough. As far as your salt and sugar, you can use as much or as little as you want, but you definitely need a little bit. I'm using vegetable. This is just plain vegetable oil. You can use oil of your choice or butter. I'm just keeping it simple. And now I'm gonna get my flour. I'm gonna put about 2 and 3/4 cup or so in here to start with. I'm gonna need some to dust my surface, so I'll make sure I have enough. But I'm gonna put at least almost 3 cups in my bowl to start with. All right. So I'm gonna keep about that much. And I may use the rest of it, and I may not, just depending on what my dough look like. And when it comes to your measurements, depending on if you want your bread to be sweeter, you'll add a little bit more sugar or honey. That's totally up to you. I use a dough whisk. You can use your hand, you can use a spatula, or fork, or spoon, or whatever. You want to mix your ingredients until they are well combined. If it's really sticky or still look real wet, you will need to add more flour. And mine is sticky and wet, but I'm gonna go ahead and dust my counter and my hands, because I'm gonna pour mine out. I'm gonna keep this bowl because I'm gonna let mine proof in this bowl. You don't have to wash your bowl or anything. When you start with your yeast and water and sugar, you want to make sure your water is at least 110 degrees or so. No hotter than 110. Right. So now I have it on my surface. I'm gonna turn it over because I want to go ahead and coat it. Mine is sticky. I want to go ahead and coat it with flour so it doesn't stick to my counter and doesn't stick to my hand. All right. So then you want to knead this. I say knead until it's well combined, smooth, and bouncing back. A good maybe 5 minutes. So I'll fast forward to this part and knead, and I'm just flipping and basically smushing. Flip, smush, flip. Yeah, no, knead. If you need more flour, add flour so it doesn't stick. All right, so my dough is smooth and bouncing back. So I hope you can see that. So I'm happy with that. Same bowl. I'm gonna pour a little bit of olive oil in, a little bit on my hands. I'm just gonna coat my bowl because I don't want it to stick or dry out. Then I'm gonna cover it with my towel, and I'm just gonna stick this in my oven. My oven is not on. You can turn the light on and let it proof. It should double in size in an hour. So we'll let this sit in the oven turned off for an hour, and then we'll come back. All right, our bread has risen. I'm gonna flour my surface just a little bit. Get our dough, not our bread. Our dough has risen. I'm gonna get it out on my floured surface. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pat this down really well. Now, you can make hamburger, hot dog, dinner rolls, whatever you want with this. I may make a few rolls for dinner tonight. I'm just gonna pinch it together to a little ball, and I'm only gonna do 2 because it's just my husband and I. We usually eat 1 dinner roll each. The rest of this, I'm just gonna flatten. You can roll this out with a rolling pin. I just flatten it with my hand. Now what I do, I want to push all the air out. What I do want is my roll to be the same width of my pan. So I'm gonna tuck my sides in just a little bit. I'm gonna roll it up. I'm gonna pinch my ends close all the way down. I'm gonna put the side down that I pinched, put it in my pan. You don't have to roll this. I just like rolling mine. Put it in my pan, and there we have it. My pan is greased good, so you can see my dough moving around. Now I'm gonna set this on my stove cover. Oh, I gotta get my sheet pan so I can put my rolls on it. All right, so I'm gonna set my loaf of bread and my 2 rolls here on the sheet pan. That way I can cover them up. I'm gonna set it on my stove while it's preheating to 350. So I'll just set it on the stove so it can get that warm and rise. You want it to at least double in size. I like mine to come at least to the top of my pan. So I'll let it sit and rise. I'll show you before I stick it in the oven. 350, let's preheat. All right, y'all. We're going in the oven for 30 minutes. Now, at this point, you can, if you want to base your top with butter or olive oil and top it with Triology or flax seeds, everything's bagel, you can. We like ours this way. I will do our dinner rolls after they finish baking, but right now I'm just gonna put it in the oven just like this. You can do that also when they come out. You can allow yours to rise more if you choose. I'm happy with this. It will rise more in the oven. So in the oven we go. It smells good. I love the way bread smells. 30 minutes, 350. All right, so our bread is done. I got busy and left it in a minute too long. I'm gonna flip it out. I put mine on a rack so it doesn't create that moisture and get soggy. The top of it is crispy now. If you let it sit, I don't cut mine while it's hot, so I let it sit and cool, and they will soften up. I will put a little bit of butter on my rolls, and I'm gonna top it with some everything's bagel. I could have been took these out, but again, I was doing stuff. Top it with a little bit of everything's bagel, and then I'll let it sit and cool. It's a simple loaf of bread. It's nothing like homemade bread, y'all. No preservatives, none of the funny business. So you should try it. Bake a loaf of bread. I do cover mine, and I'll let it sit and cool. But have fun in the kitchen, doing something that you love, creating healthy food that make your family happy. Y'all have a blessed day, and don't let nobody steal your joy.